What's up, guys? How's it going? Thank you so much for being here and watching this. Today we're going to be going over a walkthrough of a micro tattoo. I have it right here. Let's get the stencil on and get it going. Today I'll be using a pound of flesh fake skin here. I find that these are definitely the best to work with when you're practicing. Especially for you beginners out there, you know, this is the closest thing. Of course, there's nothing compared to real skin, but I think this is the closest you can get. But yeah, anyways, they didn't pay me to say that or anything. I got these from my local supplier. I just really like these to, you know, when I'm trying to figure out new ways to up my game and stuff like that. But anyways, I guess we'll go with this one right here. All right. Let's open this up. Right, cool little sticker. Check that out. Awesome. Okay. It says to allow the stencil to dry overnight before tattooing, but whatever. We ain't got the time for that. All right. We're gonna be doing like a chrome little doggy balloon here. I don't know if you guys can see that there. Pretty cool. I thought that was pretty cool and I just picked it out. Pretty simple. Quick and easy to do. Easy to show. Easy to show you guys. I'm gonna try to use this multiple times to show you guys. Maybe do some walkthroughs for other pieces, so I'm gonna throw it in the corner here. Just a generous amount, you know, just a little bit of stencil transfer gel there, you know. I probably used a little bit too much there, to be honest, but all right. So as opposed to using gray wash, we're going to be using this dynamic smoke opaque gray set here. So yeah, instead of, like I said, using black ink and diluting it with the witch hazel or whatever, these are the actual color inks, right? They seem pretty light, but yeah, I got this and I got this for a cover up that I'm gonna be using, but I figured I just thought it was a perfect opportunity for me to show you guys what values we get from this opaque gray set here from Dynamic. But yeah, let me pour these out and see what we get here. All right, first we're going to be using the ultra light gray here. All right, now we have our light gray here. Now we have our medium gray here. Now I'm gonna pour in my full black. I'm putting the first cap. Now looking at these varying tones from full black, ultra light, light, medium, dark, ultra dark. Alright guys, so first off we're gonna start with our liner. I'm using a 7-round liner here. Oh shit, I should have using 7-round liner here. See that? Yep. 7-round liner. Alright, I'm gonna start off sort of building the foundation using our darkest tone, which is full black. This machine runs a little higher voltage wise, I want to say. Maybe it's just because it's a new machine, but yeah, like I said, we're gonna start off going in with full black here and then start laying the foundation using our darkest tone. We also call it blocking, but yeah, here goes. So always wipe and always use a little bit of ointment that helps contain the ink. You ever sometimes when you pull a line and then you just see all the ink splatter everywhere or like spill everywhere, you know, if you use a little bit of ointment before you pull that line or whatever, it really helps contain some of that. Also, if you wipe, you know, if you wipe the needle before you go in to get some of that excess ink, that really helps a lot too. But anyways, let's go. Okay, see some. Now I'm just looking at my stencil and then looking at my reference and just kind of looking at, you know, just seeing where all the darker tones are, where it indicates, because again, the stencil is just information to you, right? And you're just going based off of that information. Okay, there's one solid line there. Okay. Looks like I use this 7-round liner. I chose this 7-round liner because, you know, it's still small enough to get in those real tight, fine areas, real tight, fine, sharper areas, you know, that are harder to reach with a bigger needle. But at the same time, it does cover a wider amount of surface area compared to a 3-round liner. Especially with fake skin with this, it's a little harder using finer needles, you know. If anybody has experience tattooing on real skin compared to the fake skin, you could tell like it's a lot, you gotta press in a little bit more, you know. But yeah. Get some of this here. Like I said, just kind of. Okay. Oh man, it looks like I wiped a lot of the stencil there. You guys gotta, you know, be careful with the wiping, especially with the fake skin. You know, it goes away. But this is where I tell you guys, you know, your drawing skills really comes into play here. You know, you really got to be able to eyeball some of this stuff in situations like this. Alright, now that we have our darkest tones in, we're going to switch over to our 7 curved mag here. So this is more, you got to think of the curved mags or your mags as like paint brushes, you know what I mean? Cover wider range of surface area. I love the 7 curved mag just because, you know, you're still able to use the edge of it and get in these nice tight corners, but at the same time, you know, you could use it to whip shade and all that stuff and get nice gradients and all that kinds of. So it's a very versatile little tool there. All right, so, oops. All right, first we're gonna start off with the ultra dark gray. Now we're gonna move down to the lighter tones. So we're going from darkest to lightest here. Alright, so we're gonna start off on this edge, this far edge here. Okay, let's see. Now again, these aren't gray washes, right? These are straight up just, This is the opaque gray set, like straight up colored ink. You know. Yeah, I'm very excited to see what the colors that come out of this, you know. Because I have been looking into using actual gray sets as opposed to gray wash, you know. Okay, now we have the ultra darks in. Now we're gonna go move on to the just regular dark. Okay, again we're moving backwards. We're going from darkest to lightest. Okay, so now I have my regular dark here. I'm just gonna start making these impressions. And these new needles have really kind of got me. See, I mean, it's running really high for 8.5, 8.1. Anyways. Okay. Alright guys, so now we'll have the medium tones. Alright, now for the ultralight tones. Here we go. We're almost done. We just gotta add the white right after this and then we'll be good to go. Alright, this is dynamic white I'm using here. All the inks here I'm using today are from Dynamic. Alright, now we have our highlights, which is full white. I'm using full white with the 7 round liner here. Like I said earlier, I like to use a 7 round liner really often just because it's not too fine, but it's still big enough to cover a solid amount of surface area. And but it's also fine enough to get in those little tight areas and make those nice that you wouldn't be able to get with the fatter liner, you know. The 7 round liner, you're able to get in to tighter areas that you wouldn't with the fatter liner. All right, so it looks like we're pretty much done. All right, I'll show you guys how it looks like, and you guys let me know. There you go. So yeah, that opaque gray set does bring out the kind of makes it look cool, like it gives it a bluish hue almost, you know. Yeah, it's pretty cool. All right, guys, that's it for today. I hope you guys learned something. Make sure to hit that like and subscribe button. I appreciate you guys watching this. Thank you guys so much. See you guys later.